Okay, hi, good morning, Dipanjan. So we have a new member today joining us live, Dipanjan Bosu. So we can say welcome to him.
Welcome, Dipanjan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Thank you. You can just give a brief intro, like who you are and like how come found interest in this group, because you have found us and you have joined. That is a very good thing, I because all of the members till now are my old students, they have studied from me in some way, but you are the first person who has not been taught by me in a classroom, right? So that is very good because that gives me a lot of happiness. So just tell the group about yourself a little bit.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
So I have 7 years of experience in IT. I started my career I graduated as an electrical engineer in 2014, then joined Infosys, then moved to Accenture, and then last year I got an opportunity to do my MBA. So I was in Bangalore for a year, and now I am back in my hometown in Kolkata. I have rejoined Accenture.
Okay. And your spiritual interest, like you could tell a little bit about that side, like what is your interest and when it started,
Spiritual,
how it started. Yeah.
uh, the seed I think has always been there, but um, so very recently in my while doing my MBA, I got an opportunity to do an elective on the Bhagavad Gita, and that really sparked my interest. It was called Management Paradigms through Bhagavad Gita by Professor Mahadevan. So
I am
um,
Bangalore, right?
yes, sir.
Oh, I know Professor
So,
Madhavan. Okay, very good. Okay.
so so that really
Okay.
made me very interested. Earlier, also, I was interested in Advait, Vedanta, but then these are very abstruse concepts, and I was finding it difficult to apply them to my own life. And
Okay.
so it's a journey. So I think I am in a better place than earlier, but then it's still I am still a student and learning the things.
Yeah, we are all on the same boat. No, we are all students. I'm also a student only. Right. So no worries there. Very good. So very glad to see you here. And why,
Yes.
I asked you to introduce yourself, is because for me, each person who connects, with this group, and each person who comes to this class, the way I am and the way I think, I know that behind all of this there is divine, will. So if we are here today, discussing things or sharing things, it is because divinity wants us to be here today and connect with each other. I believe in that, and I believe that there is no randomness in this universe. If I, Sachit, you, and Raj are together today, on this Sunday, 5th November, talking, about something, it is divine will. That is how I tend to think about life. I don't know what your thoughts are in this connection. So, but that is my thought process. And as we grow, more and more in our path, we'll get to understand more and more of these perspectives. Maybe today you may agree with me to some extent, you may not agree with me to some extent, because your life experiences will tell you something to believe or not to believe in. So, seeing is believing, experiencing is believing. That is a correct belief. Otherwise, if seeing is not believing or experiencing is not believing, then your beliefs are secondary and tertiary in nature, and then they are superstitions mostly. Basically, ignorant beliefs are, basically hypotheses which are not actually tested in your own life experience, and hence you don't know actually, but you have simply unwittingly accepted it from different sources, right? And we don't want to be like that. So, no, we'll have a brief recap of the last session. It was a very beautiful session, and that has brought Dipanjan to us actually. He liked that session. So I felt that it was very useful for working professionals who still want to continue on their path, spiritual path. So I had shared a few perspectives. Maybe Sachit, Raj, you could just together, in 2-3 minutes, just give a brief overview, and then we can pick the threads from there. Right? Raj, you would like to go first?
Sure. Sorry about the last class, correct, sir?
Yeah, summary of the brief summary. Yeah.
Okay, sure, absolutely, sir. Sir, in the last class, we spoke about the various vahanas that are used by Indian gods. especially Vahana of Lakshmi Mata, which is owl. So owl is awake in the night, but it sleeps in the morning. But how we translates to humans? Humans have to awake their consciousness, meaning they should not be sleeping. If they sleep, they'll not be able to achieve the consciousness of Vishnu, which is nothing but Lord Krishna. So we spoke about that one, sir, and then we also connected that to the soul in terms of.
We also shared that it's not as if Vishnu is sitting in some sky. Vishnu is sitting in our core of our being, what we call the Atman. Atman is referred to as the Vishnu, symbolically in the Puranas. So, in Indian tradition, there are different levels of scriptures. One is for the Gyanis, and Brahma Sutras are supposed to be the most, abstruse of among all the scriptures, and they are meant for the Gyanis. Even among realized beings, if they want to realize further and deepen their relation, Brahma Sutras are a guide, right? So even among Gyanis, there are classrooms, right? So for Brahma Sutras are meant for those. Then what happens now? Brahma Sutras cannot be grasped by everyone. So what happened? Ved Vyasa, who had composed Brahma Sutras also, he started to compose for everyone. Then what he did? He wrote Itihasas. Mahabharata is written by Vyasa. So therein he brought every dimension possible for human beings to contemplate and live through. He brought that. That is why Mahabharata is so fat and so thick, because he did not want to leave anything uncovered. So in a way, if you are studying Mahabharata very deeply, you will get to know virtually every aspect of life, that is possible to experience for a human being. And for example, even guidance for kings, how to be a king, that is the that where Bhishma is telling this to Yudhishthira on his deathbed, and it is 5 volumes of 12 volumes, which talks about kingship, how a king should be. 5 out of 12 volumes are basically teaching a king, what it means to be a king and what is the dharma of a king, right? So it clearly tells you the intention of Mahabharata. It is to establish, a certain syllabus to be studied by every man and to understand. But it is written symbolically. We have to decode it. Same with Ramayana also, which I have explained earlier also, that they are written in such a way that if you read at a gross mundane level, it nourishes the roots of society. Family values, love and respect for elders, for gurus, for teachers, for sacred traditions, reverence for God and divine beings and saints and sages, right? Being truthful, being dutiful. Dharma is a put forward as a ultimate adhesive which holds society, and everyone has to adhere to dharma, and even gods have to adhere to dharma. If anyone fails to adhere to dharma, they have a downfall. So the entire thing is shared. So in a way, Indian culture is based upon these teachings. Everything that we do is based upon these ground level realities our rishis had realized in their meditation, and then they have shared. So Mahabharata is meant for the very lay people, even if they don't understand the deeper truths, at least the stories can regale them, entertain them, and also educate them about how to lead their lives, right? And then also for people who do not have much time and who are still having some brilliance in their intellect, Bhagavad Gita is also there as a part of the Mahabharata, which is basically a distillation of all the wisdom of Upanishads and Brahma Sutras. So right, so yeah, please go ahead. So no, owl represents an attitude towards life, which is kind of flowing against the normal current, because normal current of humanity will always flow outward towards the materialistic desires and goals. But if we are to achieve salvation, or moksha, which is the ultimate goal of humans according to Indian tradition, then we have to be like the owl, which is moving towards the inner self, which is Vishnu, right? And Lakshmi is the goddess wedded to Vishnu, which means she loves Vishnu, the truth, the God, more than anything else. That is what a wedding means. Now you love your husband more than anything else in this world, right? So Lakshmi loves Vishnu, which means supreme truth, above anything else. So she strives very hard. What is Vahana? Vahana helps you to travel. But in spirituality, we are not traveling from point A to point B in this 3-dimensional world. We are trying to travel from point A to point B in the spiritual world, which means we are trying to cultivate a depth. So travel is towards greater depth. Greater depth of your realization, greater the bliss and the joy that you feel, and greater the strength that you feel to withstand the upheavals of the outer world. So as you will share points, I'll start building upon them. Okay, and I will do the same with Sachit also. So idea is that if you look at Bhagavad Gita, one of the central teachings of Bhagavad Gita is that we have to become Sthithprajna. How a man should be? A man should be Sthithprajna. What is Sthithprajna? Sthit is means to be established. Sthit means to be established in some state. Sthiti is a state. In Sanskrit, Sthiti is a state. And Sthit means you are situated in a state. State means of a consciousness. So Sthit, you are established in a state of consciousness. Which state of consciousness? Prajna. What is Prajna? Prajna is knowledge. Prajna means knowledge. Okay. Gya is Gyan and Prajna. So Prajna is knowledge of that truth which must be known. So a Sthit Prajna person is able to remain Sthit Prajna, which means equanimity, maintaining equanimity under all situations. That is what Sthit Prajna means. Yudhishthira was a fine example of Sthit Prajna Purush in Mahabharata. Yudhishthira is known to be equanimous under all conditions, right? So he was a Sthit Prajna, he was a Jnani. So Sthit Prajna is a person who maintains equanimity under all circumstances of life, because life can be very turbulent sometimes. And if we can remain stable and maintain our equanimity, then we can take concrete steps to come out of any situation. Right. So as a man, that is what we aspire to become, that we become immune to shocks from outside. But then what gives you that immunity? Like, if you take a normal pandemic like Corona or something, what gives you protection is your immunity. Right. Similarly, in the spiritual world, if we want to maintain our peace, even though everyone is losing their mind around us, then, we need to build our spiritual immunity. And that is a result of the depth of our awareness. How deeply we know our true self, our Vishnu self, which is immune to any shocks, which is beyond any shocks. In this connection, I recently this idea came to me in my meditations. I'm sharing with you that, God is something or someone who never began. Because anything which begins will have to end, right? Now, God is immortal and endless and deathless because it never began. It is the transcendent supreme state. It never began means it never became a part of this worldly drama. Right? It is like, circles never end. If you are traveling on the circumference of a circle, you can travel as much as you like and as long as you like. Will you ever reach the center or end of the journey? Journey will never end. So that journey will end only when you find the sweet center and come and rest in the center. So Vishnu is that sweet center of your being. And each of us has that sweet center. That is God's, grace upon us. And since each one of us has a sweet center at the core of our being, the Vishnu self, the Atman self, each one of us has a chance to redeem ourselves, to attain our salvation, right? To find the God within, right? So if you remember, Raj, in one of the previous classes, I was explaining to you the structure of the temple, Indian temple, how it is. It goes from outside to the very deep, Garbhagriha where the deity is residing, right? And why they make the Garbhagriha so dark? Because it's not easy to see the deity. Deity is our own Atman. So he is like, inside the Garbhagriha in our own inner being, where we have to go and discover. One name for Vishnu in Bhagavad Puran is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha. Why Vishnu is called Hiranyagarbha? Because he is lying in a garbha, Garbhagriha, like in a dark place. But he may be lying in the Garbhagriha, which is dark, but he himself is Hiranya. Hiranya means gold. It has a luster of its own. Gold has a luster of its own. So Vishnu has a luster of its own. In the darkness, even though it is, if you could reach that dark, sacred place in your own core of the inner being, you will discover the Vishnu, the golden self, the Hiranyagarbha self, which is radiating the light, the bliss, the joy of enlightenment. Right? So all these ideas are related in this symbol of goddess Lakshmi. And who is goddess Lakshmi? She is the most fortunate one. She is Bhagya Lakshmi. Lakshmi is always Bhagya Lakshmi. She brings you good fortune, isn't it? If you want good fortune, which goddess you worship? Lakshmi, right? Am I right? If you want wisdom, which goddess you worship? Saraswati. If you want courage, which goddess you worship? Goddess Durga, goddess Kali, right? So Lakshmi represents good fortune, good luck, right? So anyone who loves God and strives to attain God is Lakshmi. And she rides an owl. An owl is someone or something which goes opposite to the dominant popular current of life. Why? Because always in any era, in any yuga, the dominant masses, the majority, will be always running outward. Because that is how Mahamaya works. Right? Okay. Yeah, please continue, Raj. So that idea, I again embellished a little bit more to make it more firm in our mind. That idea.
It's very useful, sir. Thank you. Even we are also getting refreshed with the concepts.
No, because we tend to forget these things, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right, sir. So the next important concept that we discussed in the previous class was Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Of course, you touched upon a little bit about the current, especially Kshetra is the earth, and an individual, which is me or any of us, are going to be the Kshetrajnas. And the current outside is more because of the materialistic force that is applied on us, and there is a materialistic atmosphere which is created around us. So the outside current is more and inside current is less, which is the consciousness. So we spoke about it, sir. Would you like to elaborate on Kshetra and Kshetra?
Yeah, so this is a very important idea, if not, the most important idea, because I think it is the most important idea for any beginner in spirituality. Why? Because for any beginner in spirituality, that what is the reality? Reality is the current reality for any beginner, even for an advanced practitioner also. No, the reality is always what is being experienced collectively. Am I right? I mean, can I deny my collective reality? The workplace, my family, I cannot deny it. It is my reality. It is experientially my reality, right? Maybe it is a dream, people say. But so what? It may be a dream, but I am right now engrossed in the dream, inside this dream, and I am the dreamer right now. Is it not my reality? That is my reality. But even if it is my reality, there is a greater reality which has taken birth in me. And that reality is in the form of a seed of a desire, which is to break free from this dream. I want to become a lucid dreamer. I want to be dreaming in this dream in a lucid manner. The masters are lucid dreamers, Ammas and Sai Babas and such people. They are lucid dreamers. They are in the dream, avatars, but they are able to navigate the dream without getting caught in the dream. So they are not the dreamer in the dream. They are the real players in the dream. And they really guide the dreamers towards a path where they can also break free from the grip of the dream. Right? So we are part Vishnu, we are part Manav. Right? We are part God, part human. So both are intertwined in us. And the mystery of this whole thing is that as many units of life that you see, I mean, even an ant is an unit of life. An elephant is also a unit of life. So as many units of life as you see around you, as many states of consciousness are there. And as many centers of consciousness are there. Because each unit of consciousness, each unit of life is governed by their own particular center. Raj has his own center, Rajiv has his own center, isn't it? So it's like that. So in a way, when we connect with one another, it is like two nations speaking. It's like two kingdoms speaking. Why I'm telling this? Because in our itihasas, there is a description of a Rajasuya yagna. At the end, whether it is Yudhishthira or any king, they will conduct a Rajasuya yagna. And Rajasuya yagna, in that what happens, they will do an yagna where one horse will be unleashed and the horse will go around the kingdom, around the nation. And wherever the horse will go, that area becomes that particular king who is conducting the Rajasuya yagna. Why? Because if you stop the horse, a battle will happen. So this king wants to become a Chakravarti Samrat or Chakravarti Maharaj, which means what? Chakravarti means that he is the sovereign emperor of all the territories that man can see. So in those days, whole Bharatvarsha was the territory which man could see. So they want to conquer the entire Bharatvarsha from north to south. Okay. So this horse will run across India, and any king who wants to stop it will have to fight the battle with the army of the king who is conducting the Rajasuya game. So people think that there were actual yagnas like this, and where people were sending the horses around to conquer the whole world, whole earth. But tell me, a guy like Yudhishthir, who has found equanimity, for whom nothing is, so precious to as to sacrifice his dharma, will he be like, so power hungry to conquer everyone against their will? Does it make sense to you? And, have bloodshed over that? Be willing to kill millions for just conquering land? Does it appeal to your reason that someone like Yudhishthir will be like that? Someone who is happy to live in 5 villages, and not have the war. Will he be like so bloodthirsty to kill millions to conquer the entire earth? Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. So as a result, I never interpreted it like that. So the way I interpreted it, so I'm now adding to the Kshetra. This Kshetra in which I am living is the Bharatvarsha. Is the Bharatvarsha. How do I say that? Bha means bhakti. Bha means bhakti. And Gya means Gyan. And Bha and Gya together become Bhagya. Bhagya is luck, fortune. So in spirituality, Bhagya doesn't mean getting a good job or dream job. In spirituality, Bhagya means, in astrology, that is 9th house, Raj. In astrology, Bhagya house is 9th house, which is ruled by Jupiter, the Deva Guru. So Jupiter loves what? Knowledge. And Jupiter teaches what? Love for God, devotion for God, right? He is the Brahmin who performs all the yagas of the gods, right? Whenever gods conduct a yagna, who chants the mantras? Jupiter, Brihaspati. He is the original Brahmin. All the Brahmins, derive their lineage from, Brihaspati, Gurudev. He is the Gurudev, right? So what does he give you? He gives you knowledge and bhakti. 9th house in astrology, right? So, and bhagya. So he gives you bhakti and gyan. And look at this play of words. If you want to understand India and Indian culture, you have to pay extreme attention to every word. Bharatvarsha. India is not a good name. Correct name is Bharatvarsha. Right. And in Bharatvarsha, the key word is Bha and Rat. What is Rat? Rata is to be immersed in, to be totally soaked in something. Karyarat means immersed in work. Right? You know that there is a word like that if you know Hindi. So Bharat, immersed in bhakti. Okay, you want more evidence? Look at the character Bharat from Ramayana. When he was made the king, what did he do? He just took the padukas, which is, the sandals of Ram, and put it on the throne and told, I am servant of my brother. He is the king. And he was always, immersed in worshipping Ram. Lakshman wanted to become like Ram, and Bharat even did not want to become like Ram. He just wanted to merge in Ram. In a way, Bharat is more advanced than Lakshman. Lakshman still needs to learn. But Bharat is already an advanced student. That is why the Lord didn't take him with him. I mean, Ram did not take Bharat with him because he's already a graduate. But what Ram did as God, he tempted Bharat to see his devotion. Whether he will get deviated by the lure of power, because power is very, very seductive. Extreme power. You are being made the king of India. Suddenly, just imagine what a great temptation that will be. People fall for a petty job here and there. No, you are being made the king of the whole country. So will he still be devoted to me? That is what the Lord wanted to test. So he conducted this test and he passed. Right? Why he passed? Because he is Bharat, seeped in bhakti. Bha is bhakti. So he displayed that characteristic. That is why India is named after Bharat, Bharatvarsha. Because this whole country, if you look at, what is the soul of India? Soul of India is devotion to God. No matter what you do, ultimately Indians, generally speaking, they are devoted to God. They will have faith in God. They will love God. They will celebrate the Dasara Deepavali, whatever you do, wherever they are. They will go to America and they will celebrate it there. And then what happens? Slowly Americans start to celebrate because these are so beautiful festivals. Slowly what is happening? The whole world is slowly embracing more and more of our traditions, is it not? You can see this. So through social media, more and more of the world is embracing this. I write answers on Quora. So many Britishers and Europeans, say thank you to me, sir, that I never understood your tradition like this. We thought you are foolish people worshipping a monkey and a lizard and a snake. The bloody fool, you don't understand what we are doing. I am worshipping myself actually, not anyone else. I see myself everywhere. So I worship myself. Why I worship myself? Because my subconscious mind, I need to remind it that I am God, that I am seeing God. Everything is God. There is nothing but God. Why? Because my 5 sense organs deceive me all the time. My brain deceives me all the time into believing that there is a material reality separate from God. I don't want to be deceived, and this is God's test. God says you are a godly being. You have immense power to not get deceived. And that is why I will try my level best to deceive you. So God is the cheater and God is the cheated. In this divine Lila, it's called the Lila. This world is a Lila of the Lord. It's like, we used to play that Lukachori in our childhood, where everyone hides and we are trying to find them out, right? And so God is playing that. He has hidden himself in all of us and he's playing this game. Find me if you can, right? And if you find him, then he claps with you, enjoy, then you join the fun. You become awake in this dream, you become a lucid dreamer, right? So that is how it is. So have I added something? So Kshetrajna, coming back to that point, each one is a Kshetra. Each place is a Kshetra. This is a very important idea. Why? Because when you choose a house, when you choose a job, when you choose a life partner, when you choose a friend, when you choose to buy something, or when you choose to bring something to your house, always remember everything is a Kshetra. And everything is a Kshetra with a certain vibration. And the vibrations are of 3 types: tamas, rajas, and sattva. So be very aware in your life, in your day-to-day decisions, which Kshetra you are bringing to your Kshetra. Are you bringing a tamasic Kshetra to your sattvic Kshetra? Or a tamasic Kshetra to your rajasic Kshetra? Or are you enhancing your sattvic Kshetra by bringing more sattva through some Kshetra? Are you following me? For example, I am a Kshetra. I wear gemstones in astrology to alter my Kshetra. How? By bringing a new Kshetra. Pukharaj or something. We suggest, gemstones. What is the idea? The idea is this new gemstone is introducing a new element, a new vibration. And by that, it will help me to modify or refine my Kshetra. Maybe I wear a gemstone, let's say topaz or Pukharaj, and it brings Jupiter energy in my life. And I become, interested in studying and meditating. Is it not good for me? It is good for me. So I change my karma. By myself, I am not capable. So I borrow from some other Kshetra. Or I physically travel to a temple, or I go on a pilgrimage, or I go to an ashram for a 7-day retreat or 10-day retreat. I take break from my job. Why? Because I want to influence my Kshetra with that divine Kshetra. This Kshetra is a very important idea. This is about practical spirituality. Like, when you start practicing spirituality, you are trying to develop your immunity, spiritual immunity to these upheavals. Because you love your happiness more than anything else. And only way to retain your happiness is to retain your vibration and to enhance your vibration, to make it more and more sattvic, right? Your Kshetra should become more and more sattvic. So this Kshetra idea is a very important idea in spirituality. Have I made some additions to the knowledge that we shared last week?
Absolutely, sir. Especially on the gemology, I could never, convince people in terms of why somebody has to wear. Because I definitely know that each gem comes with its own composition, and I was able to just tell them that it creates vibration. But I was never able to, explain them in the form of Kshetra and Kshetrajna how your vibration and how your Kshetra has to be altered. And this is gemology is one of those subjects that people should.
It may help you. For example, I take a medicine. Ayurveda, let's say. So what I am doing, I am taking the essence of a herb or some element, right, and introducing you to my Kshetra. My Kshetra is sick today. So in a way, it's a game of energy. I am taking a higher energy, a more sattvic energy into my system. It's just that that particular energy matches with certain parts of my Kshetra. Something matches with my liver, something matches with my kidney, something which matches with my heart. But why it matches? There may be deeper reasons which we don't understand, but there may be some deeper reason, because if you go to Chinese medicine, kidney stores fear, lung stores grief, liver stores anger. That is how they explain in Chinese medicine. So could it be that this particular herb, like Arjuna, for example, is famous for heart, supporting heart? There is a plant, a tree called Arjuna. Arjuna's bark is very potent medicine for heart illness, right? Some of you may know it. If you don't know, you can just Google and search about it. For example, in Ayurveda, there is a famous medicine called Arjuna Ristam, which is basically a tonic for the heart. Heart patients, if they drink it, they can retain their heart's health for long. So could it be that Arjun, that tree, is carrying some vibration which is very healing for the particular emotion to which heart succumbs? Maybe heart, is very much of hurt by betrayals, or heart is very much hurt by shocks in close relationships. When some close relative hurts you or betrays you or gives you a shock, your heart goes in a shock. Maybe Arjuna has something like that. What I'm trying to say, it is not about the physical property of that particular drug, or not drug, medicine in Ayurveda, because Ayurveda doesn't call them drugs. It calls them medicines, ausadhi. So what is this ausadhi? Ausadhi is also vibration only, I think. And in homeopathy, if you go, it is pure vibration. There is no substance in that medicine. I'm myself a very good homeopath. So if I give you arsenic album 1M, it's arsenic, yes, but it is diluted to such a massive extent that there is no longer the substance inside there. It's only a vibration. So actually, we are dealing with Kshetra all the time when we are trying to treat someone or suggest some medicine or change your job, go to some other company. What we are suggesting? Change your Kshetra. You are in a bad Kshetra right now. So Kshetra influences you. Whether you like it or not, your house is a Kshetra. It influences you. Maybe change of house can bring change of luck. Maybe change of job can bring change of luck. Right? So it's a very important practical considerations in spirituality to be very aware of the field in which we find ourselves, or the fields in which we find ourselves. Field means house, field means workplace, field means country. If you go to some country for a job, I was telling Sachit the other day, be very conscious which country you are going to. Is it a country which is in alignment with the life goals that you have chosen for yourself? Or are you going to extremely tamasic Kshetra, where each Kshetra that you will meet, which means each person that you will meet, has no clue about your heart's desire? So maybe you may get more money, but then again, that may be like, Rama testing Bharat. You may have fallen, right? You chose the throne and not the Lord, right? So this Kshetra idea is a very important idea from practical consideration. I'm again reinforcing it. Spiritual people and spiritually wise people never choose poor Kshetras. They are very conscious of the Kshetra that they are choosing. And each substance is a Kshetra. A television is a Kshetra, right? It's called the idiot box. No, and these days this mobile phone is a very powerful Kshetra. I don't know whether it's idiot box or idiot what, but it can be like, a very powerful idiot something, right? It's a Kshetra. If you start your cell phone and get immersed in that, you have got immersed in a Kshetra. Are you following me? I'm trying to bring more elements to the word Kshetra. It's not a very simple word. And in the modern life, it has become even more important word because each thing is a Kshetra. It has its own aura, maya, right? Vibration. So we have to be very conscious about this word Kshetra and make it practical for ourselves, right? Okay. Okay, Raj. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Very detailed one. We continue after Kshetra and Kshetrajna. We continue towards Triguna, sir. We resurfaced on Triguna topic. So sattva, rajas, and tamas for the benefit of the Panjan. Of course, sir will touch upon it. So tamas is at the very lowest form in the Trigunas, which is unconsciousness. I'm sure you would know. Rajas is the turbulence, and sattva is the calmness. So calmness and the spiritual growth of the consciousness. How do we know that our sattva is growing? So that is where if we make spiritual progress, that is when we get to know that the sattva is growing versus other two gunas within Triguna. And we also touched upon not to worry about what people say about us, what people think about us. So this was another concept that we discussed.
Yeah.
Right?
So now, how we know that sattva is growing in us? There are ways by which we can know. One is that how peaceful you feel. More often than not, how you react to a stressful situation around you, where pressure is increasing in the environment, in the workplace, for example. Whether you're able to retain your sanity and your calmness for longer than you could earlier, or how easy it is for you to lose your calmness and become angry. If you find that the threshold is increasing, that now it is more difficult to make you really angry, now it is more difficult to really make you frightened, now it is more difficult to make you really anxious, you find yourself more in the present moment and less wandering in the past or the future, right? Or when you sit for meditation, if you are able to meditate more deeply and more peacefully and for longer, right? Or your intentions, it's very important practice to once in a while check in on your mind every day, at least a few times, whenever you can remember my advice. Check in on your mind. What is your mind doing right now? Maybe once in a while, in the daytime, whenever you can remember what I'm saying, do check in on your mind. What is the mind doing right now? It's a very practical tip I'm giving. Why you need to do it? Because in this game, you are your own auditor. You are your own balance sheet. You are your own owner of the company. You are the own Chakravarti Samrat of your own, this Bharatvarsha. Yeah, Dipanjan, please go ahead. You had a question, I saw. Yeah, please share the question.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. Sir, when we talk about how to understand whether we are becoming more sattvic, one thing that I've noticed is when our tastes also change, in the sense that the kind of music we are listening to. If I'm listening to a lot of pop music, I've noticed this in myself, that slowly my tastes have moved towards more slower music, bhajans. Also, the kind of food that we are eating, that we are attracted towards, is it very sour, very sweet? That would be more rajasic. So even like you said, being patient is also one other thing. But even the kind of food that I find myself more attracted toward, the kind of music that I'm listening to. Do I want to read a lot of fiction versus non-fiction is also something that I've seen, that if I'm very rajasic or very sort of, my mind is disturbed, then I would go into watching a lot of mindless TV shows. If I'm feeling calm and content in my current state, maybe I would want to read more non-fiction. So this is something that I've observed.
Yeah, correct. So you are very right. So your tastes and preferences also change. Kind of friends that you have also change. You start to realize that birds of the same feather flock together. As you change your feather, your flock also changes, right? Maybe some relatives tend to find you more boring now, and they start to leave you alone to your own devices more and more. You notice that you are able to have more space for yourself. People start to give you more space. And you will also notice that as you grow more sattvic, when you come to any place among relatives or any friends or any place, there is more silence around you, and people tend to stop talking superficial things around you. And I have noticed many people try to impress you also by being very good and decent and being very refined in front of you. And they seek your approval more. I have noticed. If they think you are very sattvic, they try to also seek guidance from you, counseling from you. People share their emotions more easily with you. People open up more with you. They trust you more. So there are many indications. And as you rightly said, your desire also changes. Very important, your desire also changes. You desire more and more of knowledge, and more of peace, and more of understanding about life. You find yourself drawn more and more to spiritual literature, spiritual companies, spiritual groups, right? So yeah, so these are the methods by which you can notice sattva growing in you. Yeah, continue, Raj.
Sure. So then we moved on to the Panchatattvas, Panchabhutas. So Brahman, creator, is at the top of it. So we have got Agni, Jala, Prithvi, Gali, Akasha, and Gali, which is fire, water, earthy, sky, and airy Panchabhutas. And we also discussed that Lord Krishna has got all the 5 elements, even for that matter, Ama. And a man becomes complete when he has got all the 3 compositions out of these 5, which is fire, earth, and water. If a man is completely fiery, meaning always fighting with others, very stubborn, and not being flexible like water, he will never be able to establish relationship in the current world. And one having only one bhuta, which is as a larger one, doesn't make a man very successful. We should have a balance of fire, earth, and water elements to be a complete man.
Other two also, air and space also.
Yeah.
Because with air, what happens? You give unconditional love to all. Air gives air to everyone to breathe, right? So whether it's a criminal or a saint. So similarly, you may not, approve of a criminal, but at the same time, you know that his or her time will come to reform. At a fundamental level, each one has the same spark of divine. They have just gone, off track for some time. So in a way, you reserve your displeasure or hatred. I mean, they don't arise in you. Basically, they don't arise in you. You give each one their space. Space meaning, you know that no space-time are related. So you give them their space and their time, that maybe they will learn it through some bad experiences. And you know that as a wise man, that without experiences, there is no point blabbering in front of someone. I mean, if someone, see what I'm trying to say, if someone doesn't want to be happy, I cannot give them happiness. If someone doesn't want wisdom, I can't give them wisdom. We can only give someone something if they seek that something and they don't know how to find it. Right. So this is a very important point I am making, because I have seen every master saying this. You take one step towards me, I'll take 10 towards you, or 100 towards you. Quantity is not important. Point is that you take little bit, you make little bit effort to move towards me. And here me means truth. Whenever a Sadguru talks with you like that, it's not Krishna as a person, narcissistic person saying I am God. No, Krishna represents truth, Brahman. Let's say if I have realized God and if I say come towards me, it is not Rajiv, it is God speaking through Rajiv. Anyone who has become self-realized can represent all self-realized beings and the self itself. So idea is that you cannot give something to someone in this line, spiritual line, unless they seek that. So to a person who is not seeking truth or wisdom or happiness, we cannot give it. And this is the reason why, despite there being so many enlightened beings on earth, this whole earth remains as ignorant as it ever was. Why? Because the dominant majority, they don't seek this. So Krishna is helpless in front of Duryodhana. You saw that in Mahabharata. Did Krishna not try to, bring about truth? He tried, no? So this idea of God never failing is a wrong idea. God is always failing all the time in most places. God has created this Lila or this game, hoping that it will come to an end very quickly. But that fellow has realized that it was a very dangerous game he played, because most of his own extensions have gotten lost too much in this Maya. But then when he started the game, he made a rule that, I will not help you till you help yourself. That is why this proverb came: God helps those who help themselves. It's a very, very important thing to realize. Why? Because if you don't understand this, you will become someone who is a preacher. Preachers are never good. It will disturb your own peace and it will disturb the other person also. Never become a preacher in life. That's my suggestion. You may become whatever you like, but that's my suggestion only. Yes, Sachit?
So as you were saying this point, I was also thinking and contemplating about it, that God never wants to interfere. There is always a natural law of free will. At the same time, God just overlooks. It doesn't matter what game you play, but God is just as an observer. At the same time, my question suddenly, a parallel popped in about the entire existence also as a cycle, right? Like we have all the yugas, like right now we are in Kali Yuga. No matter, like you said, this is a never-ending game, and we are going so much into ignorance more and more. In general, the masses are getting more ignorance. But then nature has its cycle where, like we are right now in Kali Yuga, it will at some point in time go back to the Satyuga. It will some point in time go to a massive destruction and then back to life. So that is also there, right? So meaning to say that there's some natural element part of the game which God has created that it will restart. So that is also there, right? Though we probably in our lifetime it might not happen, or in one immediate lifetime it doesn't happen, but it does happen at a very long scale.
You want me to respond to this? You want me to respond to this?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me respond. So see, you are right. As I told, fields are within larger fields, right? So if we take Earth as a large field in which we right now are living, can we say that? Earth is maybe the ultimate field in which we all are living, inhabitants of Earth. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Now, if you agree that there is life in every Kshetra, if you are an Advaitin Vedantin, Advait Vedantin, you will believe that there is God in every atom, right? So, a vast terrestrial body like Earth, do you think it will be a lifeless object? What is your intuition?
It will definitely.
It's not a lifeless object. So, when we treat Earth as a goddess, we call her Mother Gaia, right?
Yeah.
There is a perspective, no, where Earth is a goddess, Earth is a mother. Now, could it be that Amma is an incarnation of Mother Earth? It seems to me like that. The way she is hugging everyone and the way she is pushing the very limits of her body, either she is the incarnation of Mother Earth or she is the devotee of Mother Earth. Great devotee. Because she is pushing to the extreme limits of human frame, this physical frame. But why she is so much vested in this earth? And all her projects are towards sustainability. And every time she speaks, she talks of sustainability. So could it be that we are actually living in a divine planet where the divinity is a planet? I mean, relevant divinity for us is the planet itself. And the planet is trying to teach us how to live. So this Indian word, Dev, Dev is a more good word than God, because God means only one God. But when we say Devata, multiple gods can be there. I can become a god. You can become a god. Let me approach this from another perspective. Bible says that God made man in His own image, isn't it? Yes, famous statement, no?
Yeah.
And we humans, dominated by this biblical statement, somehow treat ourselves as more privileged. We are the crown of creation, right? So if I eat meat, it is okay. But if the tiger eats my meat, it's not okay. Why? Because I am holier than the tiger. Right? Now that's an assumption we make, right? But it may be partly true also. But why it is partly true? Let me explain to you. See, when you say God made man in His own image, what it could mean? Let me take a metaphor or analogy. Let's say a banyan tree made something in its own image. what is it that the banyan tree made in its own image, and which it hopes that that thing will become like as it is? The banyan seed. So God, the majestic God tree, made man in his own image, means man is the God seed. And the God seed will grow into God. That was the hope of God. Right? So maybe life is like that. God made God seeds in the form of the human crown of creation. But the crown of creation has to realize this, that it has the God seed. What I'm trying to say, the tiger also has the God seed. But the tiger has a God seed is beyond its comprehension. The tiger can never eat grass. Okay, and man can eat grass also, and the tiger also. It has a choice, right? And this choice that man has, this discrimination that man has, enables it to claim that God made me in his image, which means God is perfection. In which sense? Perfection of life in its expression is God. In India, we never bring Brahman into godliness. Godliness is Devata, Devatva. In reality, if you look at Indian concept of God, which is the supreme truth, that is something which never began. God never began. God has not yet begun, and it will never begin. And hence it is endless. It will never end. And we people, our main problem is that we have begun. Since we have begun, we will end. Sachit will end, Rajiv will end, right? But there is a substratum, the God seed, which never began, which is waiting for us to come back to that beginningless place. It is the Alpha and the Omega and beyond both. In fact, it is Alpha and Omega, everything in between and beyond all. If you understand what I am saying, or at least intuit what I am saying, you have progressed a lot on the spiritual path. Dipanjan, could you make some sense of what I just blabbered for last 3-4 minutes? Can you tell me what you got it? I just want to test your preparation. How much you got from what I said? What you got?
So can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
So I understand that even for me it is still theoretical, a lot of it, but we say that the human form or the human birth is the most supreme birth because it has at least the possibility of attaining moksha or jivan mukti from a Advaitic standpoint. So that is also similar to the other religions, Abrahamic religions, which say that the human form or humans are somehow the crown of creation. So those parallels are significant. And then, like you said, that the tiger is also a manifestation of divinity, but for the tiger, it does not have a choice. Its destiny is to grow up, and it will procreate, and it will die. It will perhaps not be able to realize its divinity, but humans have that spark and that ability to realize divinity if they choose to do so.
You're right. And the main tool is this discrimination. This free will is a tool. Free will is a tool. So anything which is destined to attain divinity has to be given free will. But if you look at it from another perspective, this reality, this world, you can perhaps see the unfairness of the game. For the lower animals and the plant kingdom, there is no possibility of them ever realizing. So if we understand this, we'll feel so fortunate. It's so precious to get a human birth. It is so important to get a human birth and not to waste it. If the general population could understand how tough a situation they find themselves in, Buddha realized very quickly. Buddha, only the first time he saw this suffering in the world, he immediately recognized the problem, inherent problem of the world. Why? Because he was very, very ready spiritually. Right? Even though they tried to hide the reality from him, but he could ultimately, being a very extraordinary student, the first time he saw suffering, he understood. So what I'm trying to say, more awake you are from inside, more you'll be able to see through the design of this universe, which is basically sugar coated. But behind the sugar coating is the misery and the suffering. You take too many sweets, you'll become diabetic. You take too much salt, you'll become hypertensive. You take too many spices, you'll have peptic ulcer. If you become too much anxious, you will have, heart failure. If you become too much dominated by other people, you will develop cancer. If you become too sad, you will develop tuberculosis. If you become very afraid, kidney failure. So it is a very strange game. It's a very strange game. It is designed in such a way that everywhere, you see suffering ultimately will sooner or later visit you. It's a postman which is on the way. Okay, one day it will find your doorstep. It's like that. I'm not mincing my words. It's very true. See, anything which has a beginning will end. My wife has a beginning, so she will end one day. My son has a beginning, and so he will end one day. And my son's father, me, has a beginning, so I will die one day. My son has to grieve for my dead body one day. That is the fact of life. In spirituality, we cannot escape that truth. And that is why we are pointed towards something which never began and which will never end. So, asado ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma mritangamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And only when you reach that, you will attain Shanti, peace. So ultimately, our search is for that eternal peace, eternal happiness, bliss. Right? I don't know whether it makes you sad or not, but point is that at some point of time, we have to accept the reality. Most people on the planet are in denial of reality. They somehow want to say that God is so great, so grand, so glorious. So whatever God has done is ultimately going to be very perfect. So this world is very perfect, very glorious. Let me enjoy the world. Now that is a wrong conclusion. That is a wrong conclusion. And I hope that you understood what I'm saying. It's a wrong conclusion. Yes, God is the creator. God is majestic, magnificent, fantastic. So this creation is fantastic, amazing, absolutely mind-boggling. No doubt about it. But God is more mind-boggling than all this. So let us get the mind-boggler and not worry about the mind-boggling things. Okay. Let us get the creator and let us love the creation. And that is what is my advice. Let us get the creator and love the creation and then serve the creation. That is what is the correct way to understand. I would like you to respond. Maybe Sachit, maybe Raj, maybe Dipanjan. This is the way of thought which I had from very young age. How do you respond to my thoughts? Does it make you sad or angry or something? I don't know. Angry with God maybe? Why he made like that?
God, like you said, I just had one thought. God is majestic, like you said, but he is, at least the way we look at it, God is beyond everything. God is also terrible and not majestic, and like you said, the greatest cheater, deceiver. So reality is also a reflection of that. It is both good and not so good. And like you said, we have to accept. It's difficult. It makes one sad also.
It makes one
But
sad.
it is what it is.
It makes you sad also. It's good. This sadness is good. No problem in that. Sadness is an emotion. It is given for some reason, right? Yeah, Sachit. Sachit is very deep thinker amongst us. How he reacts to this.
I was recollecting 2-3 thoughts, sir, as you were discussing. One, when you start beginning the response to the question, I immediately was able to remember that the earlier discussion which we had about scaling up and also scaling down, we were looking at quantum physics and quantum mechanics and how, going down it in a very atomic level, the same way it can go in up or down the scale, For example, I was talking about how every single cell is its own unique intelligence, is one single individual consciousness. Then if we are a community of 1 trillion cells, so it means that, but at the same time, we were questioning whether am I controlling all the 1 trillion cells, not very consciously, but it is programmed to do so, and I'm roaming around with this 1 trillion cells. Similarly, like you were sharing, Earth is also a life in itself, and the entire universe is also life in itself. Probably that's the reason the question which I began was, that will also end, like how you said, everything has a beginning and the end. So probably me thinking at like that individual cell, that okay, why are we going in this entire cyclic of life, and right now from my individual cell perspective, there's no end to this Kali Yuga, but over a larger span of the life cycle, there's an end. Probably that's the end of my life, like me comparison with my individual cell. The individual cell might perish after say 2 months or whatever the lifespan, but my end is in my lifespan has a different end. So similarly, our own universe has a separate lifespan and it has its own cycle of beginning and an end. But when you were talking about towards the end, you were talking about let's go behind, let's move towards the creator. We look at our culture describing a creator who is not having a beginning nor the end, right? And which is beyond the alpha, the omega, everything in between, and even beyond it. So that is something that I was trying to recollect with other parallels which I've I heard the audiobook of Conversations with God. So there also they explain about how the universe had begun, right? So everything in the beginning, there was from the absolute self, it had to split up into two, right? So for the very first time, there was something called as this and something called as that. And when this separation happened of the very first time of the absolute self, and no matter what between this and that, even it doesn't matter the distance if it is very near or extremely infinitely far, but there's a distance. So that gave birth to the space in between. So I was reminded about all of those aspects about when you were saying the alpha, the omega, everything in between and everything beyond it, which is the creation of both the masculine, feminine energy, and a lot of other parallels are just unfolding in what I was trying to.
Very beautiful. So I'll add more perspective too. And Raj, you can wait for some time because he triggered some more thoughts in me.
Yeah.
So it's not only 50 trillion. It's 50 trillion cells, not 1 trillion. So it's not only about 50 trillion cells and my body and 50 trillion beings on this earth. See, it is a nested system. This universe is a nested system. So there is life within life, within life, within life, within life, within life, within life, perhaps endlessly down and up. Right? And between all downs and ups, there is Supreme Brahman. Right? So it's a nested reality. So there is Brahman, like maybe the capsule, the envelope, so to speak. And within that, there is nested reality. Dimensions and dimensions, multiverses, science is now talking about. So there are multiverses, not only one universe. There are multiverses within maybe multiverses, within multiverses. Hari Anant, Hari Katha Ananta. There is no end to Lord's creativity. And there is no, what shall I say? These are realities which difficult to capture in words because I'm experiencing these things, but difficult to express in words. What I'm trying to say, see, once you have begun, the multiplicity is going to grow. Why? Because you are creating centers of consciousness. The moment you create centers of consciousness and you are yourself consciousness, how are you going to control it? See, 1 becomes 2 and then 2 becomes 3. The child comes, right? Then the 3 becomes 4, then the 4 becomes 6. So this is how it is going to proliferate only. If you read Indian Puranas, it says in the beginning God created Brahma and Brahma created everything. But Brahma for a long time was creating through thought. If you know what I'm saying, Indian scriptures you have to read. Brahma was creating through thought. It was called Manasputra. Manasputra is thought creation, right? But at some point, Brahma produced Prajapati. And Brahma told Prajapati that you procreate through marriage. So Prajapati is the first person who got married, like Adam and Eve, and then biological creation started, physical through sex. So Ravan is called the grandchild of Brahma, Nati. Nati is daughter's son. If you don't know, your Ramayana, Ravan is the grandchild of Brahma. Now, do you think that these are real lineages? Now, foolish people try to trace lineages and they try to reduce Brahma to a human. It's not like these are symbolic ideas because it's a nested reality we are living in. So, what is the meaning of all this? Meaning is, what is Brahma? Brahma is Brahman in a form. Now, that form is not physical. Amma calls it Upadhi. Brahman in an Upadhi. So, Om is Brahma. I am. The moment you say I am, there is someone saying I am. Now, Brahman was silent before that. Before the Om originated, the vibration. What quantum physics is telling, everything came from vibration, from Big Bang, right? Something vibrated out of stillness. And that vibration was Om. I am. I'm not going into physics. I'm going into deep spirituality. See, till the silence says I am silence, it remains silence. The moment silence says I am silence, it is no longer the silence. It violates its name by speaking. It's like that. So Brahman is that eternal stillness. And the stillness speaks. And that is I amness. And that is your Atman. Your Atman is Om. Om is the name of your Atman, the sacred self, the true self, the immortal self. And that is why Om is Shiva, worshipped Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. Right? These are deep mysteries. Our Indian tradition is very mysterious. Why? Because it knows the truth. And our rishis are the teachers of the truth because they are the realizers of the truth. The truth, not a truth. So they teach in mysterious ways because they have realized the mystery. So what is the mystery? Mystery is this: God is that Brahman, the beginningless Brahman and the endless Brahman. But it is not enough to be Brahman. If it were enough to be Brahman, it will not manifest this reality. It is like, why Brahman is not enough? Because it's like a tremendously talented painter. Right? And that tremendously talented painter is the white canvas itself. Now that white canvas is very beautiful, very glorious. It is not happy. It wants to play with colors because it knows its majestic creativity. And this is pulsating with life. It is very much alive. So what it will do? It's like a pregnant woman, no? A woman pregnant with, a trillion or maybe God knows how many trillions of children inside her womb. What she will do? Can she remain peaceful without producing? How much painful it will be, just imagine, to not produce. I'm reducing God to a woman right now, but you understand, right? I'm using a metaphor. It's not a real woman. I'm using a metaphor. How painful. You let's say, Sachit, you just suddenly get an impulse to write a poem. It's a beautiful poem. And when you are reading in your mind, you feel moved to tears. And you realize that if I don't share this, world will be a loser. Won't you share your poem? So if a poem can move you so much, how about God? He is moved by so much beauty that he sees. And that is Brahma aspect of God. So he creates. So when creating, he knows there is a risk of getting lost in this Maya forever. Right? But if you are God, you know that you will not let your child lose itself completely. You can retrieve the child from any situation that it reaches. And that is a very great promise that each one of us has. Whenever we are in deep trouble, extremely deep trouble, no matter how great a sinner we feel ourselves to be, don't worry, God is never going to judge. You just turn back towards your dad and tell, enough, please call me back, please help me. You just see help starts coming your way. So every master says, take one step towards me, I'll take 10 towards you. But that step that you take should be pure, with pure intention. So purity is the only thing that is required, nothing else is required. That's my personal experience. I don't know how much what I said made sense to you. Did it add something to your understanding, Sachit?
Yes, sir, definitely. Yeah.
So last point is, in this game of nested reality, you are promoted to the next nest. Like in organizations, we get promotion, no? As you grow in consciousness, God picks you and puts you in a different higher plane, higher loka, higher dimension. Right? Just like we are living in earthly reality, there are godly realities also. So if you become a very deserving candidate, he will put you to the higher reality also. He will not put like physically, you yourself will reach. It's like, you'll be able to open a lock. And the moment you open the lock, you reach the next plane. It's like that. Universe is in a nested structure, and in each sphere where you find yourself, only way to get out is to crack open the lock, crack open the code of that lock. You have to open that lock. You have to unlock and find that we were always free. We are dreaming that we are bound. We are not bound, we are divine. But we are dreaming that we are bound. But to break free from this dream, you have to find the code for this lock. And that code for this lock on earth is spirituality. Maybe next class when we'll start discussing what is it to be spiritual and what is spirituality and what to do to progress. My classes are becoming more serious day by day, if you notice. Right? We are now seriously getting started now. Okay. My classes are becoming very, very deep now. Only very, very keen spiritual seekers will be able to stay and will be able to come also. Like Deepanjan, more people will come because at this depth, those who vibrate at this depth, they will come. Right? And slowly we'll start picking scriptures also and start to decode them, read them. And look at all the religious motives. From across the world, we'll contemplate the 100 names of Allah also. Just to be fair to all religions. It's not as if Islam doesn't have anything. Every religion has got a lot of good, beautiful things. As we go along, if we have a good, long life, we'll keep discussing all these things. And hopefully grow our lights and grow the light in the world. So that we become more peaceful and, a wonderful planet. Last point I will make is that the way God has made this reality is that it's a self-sustaining reality. He doesn't intervene. Since God never began, he has no intention to begin. Because the moment God begins, it's like silence saying, I am silence. So God never begins. Right? It is we who have begun. It is our duty. It is our dharma. It is our responsibility to awaken fully and to awaken others. This last point, Sachit, is very important. God will never begin. But since we have begun, we have to end also. And move towards the end, right? And help everyone to move towards the end. And end is not sad, Deepanjan. End is very beautiful. It's a new beginning, right? Into which beginning? Into Brahmahood. So from the navel of Vishnu blossoms the lotus on which Brahma is sitting. So idea is the supreme creator is you also. The supreme creator is you also. The supreme creator Brahma made Prajapati and you came from Prajapati. Your father, mother produced you, right? But you can, it's nested reality. You can always trace your steps backwards from Prajapati to Brahma. And when you reach Brahma, you realize you are Brahman. You realize you are the eternal I am. So when Moses asked God, who are you? He said, I am what I am, right? Which means there is nothing else which God can say. I am what I am means you have to experience what I am. I can't tell you who I am. Because to tell who I am means to describe qualities. I have no qualities. I am an experience. Your own divinity that you have to experience is what I am. So I am what I am. Best possible answer to this question, right? Devotee's question, no, all right, but very qualified devotee. Moses was a qualified devotee. So he received the very, very deep answer. By contemplating this answer, Moses became enlightened, right? which means he realized I am. Are you with me? That I am is Om, Shiva, right? So Om Namah Shivaya, Amma says everyone, Om Namah Shivaya. So this is what India means. And this is what to be an Indian means. Bharatvasi means. So Bharatvasi is utterly steeped in devotion because there's nothing else to do in life. Right? So what are all we are doing, we are only trying to, I'm now touching upon something else. As a world, as a society, what we should be trying to do versus what we are trying to do, that is what I'm trying to say. What we should be trying to do is that being the crown of creation, being the intelligent species on this earth, we had to create the city and the village out of the jungle. That was important and necessary so that children can go to school and study, so that teachers can peacefully teach. When tigers are roaming around and they will eat us, we cannot do that. So we need our village, we need our city, we need our culture, we need our civilization, we need our religion also. We need our religion also means, I'm not talking about religions, I'm talking about religion. There's a difference between the two. Religion means a way of life that purifies the consciousness. So in a world where India is separate from America and America is separate from Mexico and Mexico is separate from Middle East, we can have multiple religions in different places. But each religion has only one purpose, to purify the consciousness. But when we have become a multiple location merged into one, globe, small globe, earth is but a small globe, then we have to understand the meaning of the word religion. We can have multiple religions, but we have to understand that these multiple religions are like different flowers only in the same bouquet. And no flower in the bouquet is superior to the flower. So that is what it means to be a human in 21st century. I'm no longer a Hindu and you're no longer a Muslim. We are humans first. So as society, we have to basically just ensure that the basic roti kapra makan and healthcare and education, these 5 things are taken care of by the collective. A 6th thing doesn't belong to the collective. Why? Because wars are artificial, based upon very, 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 very tamasic ignorance. When a human kills a human, cannot be called a human. It's a demon. Only a demon can think of killing a human. And only human can become demon. Animal can never become demon. If animal kills man, it is not a demon. It is programmed to kill the human if it is hungry. A lion eating a man is not a demon. It is biologically compelled to eat. Right? Because it has no choice. But when we kill, we are exercising our choice in a dysfunctional way. I covered a lot of deep ideas in 3-4 minutes. I don't know how much you could grasp. I would like you to respond. And maybe Raj could respond. If Sachit, you are through with your points, I hope I added something to your points.
Yes,
Raj,
sir.
you could respond to my points, recent points also, and your original thoughts also. So this conversation lasts 35-40 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, Raj.
Sure. Yeah. So, sir, while discussing for the last few minutes, I was trying to gather my thoughts, especially on the creation and the creator. So I came out with my perspectives about this important concept, sir. So every product that is created is sure, sir. Every product that is created is bound to be, going through a phase of testing. It has to go through the phase of testing. So a man is inventing something, so that becomes a product, and product has to be, it has to go through a phase of testing, and there is an user for it. So the reason why I'm looking at this one is, while a man can create a product, example, an apple as an entity and makes that entity into a 3 trillion value. I'm talking about the money right now. If we can imagine the scale God can create. So a man's creation of a product is a product which is going towards the materialistic world. So towards the more current, where we have, we call it as a kshetra. But the God's product is the ultimate truth. So in my opinion, every individual has to go through the phase of testing to purify their consciousness. So when God creates the product, so truth is already existing, which is God's product. And if I have to pass through that, I need to go through the multiple tests throughout my life. For example, my dad is passed away, and now I need to take care of my mother. So that's the test. Will I take the responsibility from my dad and still continue my responsibility to keep my mom happy? So that's my true responsibility. So that's the test that I go through. So similarly, every day we face a lot of these tests, and ultimately, the purity of the consciousness till it comes. I think I need to go through this test. So this is what I understood, from the last few minutes of the discussions that.
So in a way, you're responding to my idea of nested reality.
Yep.
It's a nested reality.
Nested reality.
In your nest, this is where you find yourself. That is your reality. Raj's reality is that, dad passed away, mother is there, I have to take responsibility, there's a job, family. So this is the nest in which you are living, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to continue, you can continue, but
No,
I'm just trying to help you to see how it connects to what I said.
Right.
It's a nested reality. This reality can't be denied, should not be denied. So what you are saying is that a true devotee will accept it completely and discharge the dharma towards the mother, towards the family. And doing this, you purify your consciousness as much as is possible in this lifetime. Now, this is where the peculiar, Indian way of thinking comes, of belief in multiple lifetimes. So our understanding of time is a very vast scale of time. We don't worry about our destiny, so to speak, because of implicit faith in God, implicit trust in God. That is a true devotee. A devotee says, Lord, you do as you will through me. I am an instrument in your hand. Right? That is the bhakti yoga. Then doing that, you serve everything around you as your dharma. That is the karma yoga. So you see, bhakti yoga and karma yoga can never be separated in a real sense. Right? And this intuition that you have, that there is a God behind all this, is your germinal idea or gyan about the truth as it is. So there is jnana yoga. So bhakti yoga, karma yoga and jnana yoga, all three have come together. Right? And when all three have come together, and if they come together, do you not see that the divinity that is behind all this, the ball is now in his court? If you can really live life like that, then you need not worry at all about your life, because your life is now whose responsibility? God's responsibility. What you are sharing is so beautiful and such a powerful teaching that I hope everyone understands what you just said. That is the fastest way to spiritual development. Fastest way. Because no matter how much I try, I can only help only if divine will is there. Now again, this may again trigger a doubt that sir told God never began, and now he is saying divine will is there. How can both be possible? Yes, both are possible. That is why he is called God. Okay. To begin and to will, they are two different things. I'll give an example. How to say that? Let's say that I will that my son becomes a very good person, right? And I am God. Then to start with, I will put my son in a good place, where the environment is such, the Kshetra is such, that he becomes a good person. Now this is my will, which manifested like that. But I'm not a desperate father that I will join the scene and start helping him. That will be beginning. So I can will, but I never begin. You know what I'm saying? So God being the ultimate creator, he is the ultimate willer also. So when I told nested reality, I also did not mean static reality, nested and dynamic reality. So in a way, your past was like a tree which manifested out of the seed of even previous past. And your present is also in one way a tree which has come out of the seeds of the previous tree, which is your past. Right? But in another way, this present moment is also a seed, not only a tree. As a tree, it is the karma that you are experiencing, prarabdha karma. And as a seed, it is your agami karma that can be different from the trend line that you are traveling upon. That is where a teacher like me comes into picture. What am I trying to do? I am trying to influence your trend line, you see. I am trying to take your trend line from this to that. The curve I am trying to increase. The speed I am trying to accelerate. Speed of what? Speed of development of consciousness. That is what is the role of a spiritual teacher. Did you follow what I'm saying, Raj? I'm sharing very practical ideas. This is how an intelligent man should think. Do you follow what I'm saying, Raj? Can you tell me what I did, what I shared?
Absolutely. Sir,
For the sake of larger humanity, can you decode what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
As a person, how you understood?
Yeah.
Because many people will watch this YouTube video, right? Like the Panjan did, right? Many people will watch. For those sake, people will be seeing this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sir, as a God wants to put every creature into the right kshetra. And he doesn't want to do the hand holding completely. Once a creature has been put up in a beautiful kshetra, the first level job is done by the God, and rest has to be taken care by the creature. And in this whole journey, a teacher who is a true guru will influence the path for everyone. And you just spoke about the trend line, right? So most of us will start at zero, and the curve will the sattva will grow only when there is a constant effort and there's a continuous effort. And for that, there is a driving force which is required to increase the trend line or the curve. So this is what I understood, sir.
Yeah, so that is where the role of a spiritual aspirant, a spiritual teacher comes.
Yep.
So each one of us is a spiritual student and a spiritual teacher. Sachit is a teacher in his family. Dipanjan is a teacher in his family. I am a teacher in my family among my students. But I am a student to Amma and a teacher to my students. Like that. Maybe Amma is a student to Krishna and teacher to her students. I don't know. Because a nested reality. If Amma is Mother Earth student may be Lord Sun. And if Lord Sun is a God, maybe he's student of the Milky Way galaxy. Maybe there is something Vishnu Navi there tell, right? So this is nested reality, means more develop the child's consciousness, higher up the God puts him. And more responsible that person becomes. So maybe Yamaraj or Dharmaraj, who is judging our destiny after our death, is a very advanced child of God. Why don't we think like that? We can think like that, no? Is it not possible? Is that so far-fetched? That's my first question. Dipanjan, how do you react to this hypothesis? Is it very far-fetched, or you can plausibly understand or also accept it?
It is if it is a nested reality, then I could connect with the way you described it. So it makes sense.
It makes sense. And our Purans say that there is a Yamaraj. And many people's life experience, many TV channels are showing that. Right? I don't know. I have not seen that, but I don't find it so unbelievable. And also, Christian will say, no, but he saw Yamaraj and I saw something else. But Baba, that God who is so creative, why do you believe that he is so limited that he can't create a Yamaraj for you and something else for you? It's a nested reality, it's a multifaceted reality. As is your belief, so is the reality. That is what quantum physics is also telling us. Our beliefs shape our reality. And ultimately, the world is created out of spirit, not out of matter. I mean, see, energy and matter, right? Energy and matter, right? But what is matter? Matter is a conditioned energy. Energy with a mind is matter. Tell me, why is sodium, sodium? Why is magnesium, magnesium? Because magnesium is magnesium mind, sodium is sodium mind. It's a strange way of interpreting chemistry. Okay. Why can't we think like that? Because at the quantum level, everything is randomness, just empty, no quantum space and taking some shape and some form. So, but then wherever there is some tendency, where does that tendency come from? You may try to explain it mechanically. I can listen to your lecture, but I tend to say that no, that is mind. No, it is mind. What is the harm in it? Tell me. Why I can't call it a mind? A tendency is a mind. Let's say I define tendency as mind. What is the wrong thing that you find in my definition? Tell me, Dipanjan. Logically, am I wrong? Tell me.
No, sir. I'm not able to contradict.
You can't contradict. Salt dissolves in water. You can explain through chemistry, through physics. And I am telling salt has a tendency to dissolve in water. Am I wrong? I can't be wrong. Can you for sure contradict me? If you're a real atheist will never contradict me. He will have, yeah, I'm a skeptic, I don't know, maybe you're right, I don't know, I have no idea. You are going too deep for me. Right? Now I will tell salt has a mind, which loves water, dissolves in water. It loves water so much that it surrenders to water completely. It says, oh God, I love you so much, I want to merge in you. So water is God, salt is a devotee, merges in water. It has a mind like that. It is like ultimate in orgasm, like the salt experiences inside the water. Just merges in that one. I can interpret it like that. But I will be only able to know if I become salt. If Brahman is that which is no sarvavyapi, it is inside everything. Maybe when I reach that level, only then I will know the salt mind. And at that time, I would have gone beyond physics, chemistry, and biology, right? I have become Brahma now. Right? Such things are possible, right? So it's a nested reality, all right. But there is some bird which is living in each nest. And the bird is the same, only one bird, and that is the Brahman. How mysterious is that? No, it is mind-bending, right? It is mind-shattering. And that is what is ultimate genius, right? That is God, right? I enjoyed what I just shared. I really loved it because it is like that. It is like that. But another analogy could be, they say that the same sun shining through different pots. But then this is a little bit shallow analogy because all the pots are on the same plane. But it's not like, it's a nested reality. In a nested reality, you can imagine the Deepavali being celebrated, at multiple tiers, and at each tier, there are multiple pots. And each pot is shining with light in a different way. If you take a color, what is that? The shades of color they show when you buy a car or something. There are millions of colors like that. So each light is shining in a different shade because God never repeats himself, right? But each one is well lit beautifully, but each one is different. But each one is the same creator shining through all. Same white canvas. We started with white canvas some point of time, right? If you remember, it has become everything. The nested reality, all right, but the same white color is everywhere. It is in disguise. So Rama says that no, you are meeting God all the time, but he comes in disguise. So you fail to recognize. Right. We went too deep today. I don't know. I mean, people will be able to follow or not. They will think these are four crazy people wasting their time. They should talk about something, concrete. I don't know.
So the sun and the pots metaphor. So to build on that, some of the pots have muddy water, some have clear water, some have turbulent water, but it is the same sun shining. And but the level of the manifestation of consciousness or the reflection, it is not the same. What you were saying, it is different.
It is like, another way to understand this is that maybe I could make a diagram and show. Maybe next class, I don't feel like drawing today, but you can visualize. It's like, let's take a sphere made of some glass. Earth is a sphere, right? So let's take a sphere. Now the light that shines on this sphere, it shines in such a way that there are many spheres on this sphere. And each sphere, smaller sphere, is a living being. So Earth shines in its own way, becomes Mother Gaia. And each small sphere shines in its own way. Some sphere becomes a tiger, some sphere becomes a lion, some sphere becomes a cow, some sphere becomes a banyan tree, some sphere becomes a mango tree, some sphere becomes a grass, some sphere becomes a man, some sphere becomes Rajiv, Sachit, Dipan, like that. It's like that. Can we visualize like that? So can't we say that? And also this sphere is made of condensed light. So can we say that this light is the same as this earth? Can we say that this light is the same as this lion? Can we say that this light is same as the tiger? Theoretically, yes. Right. And can we say that as a result of this, as a human with spiritual inclination, whom teachers are teaching about this reality, can't I theoretically accept this idea and start living my life like that? That everyone is a manifestation of the same divine. The tiger is manifesting the tiger reality of violence. The criminal is, demonstrating the criminal reality of utter ignorance. But I, being a spiritual seeker, or I, being a spiritual practitioner, let me manifest the saintly qualities of my guru as best as possible. Can't we say like that? So that is how it is. So the muddy water example becomes basically the muddy, replace the muddy with maybe, Amma calls it upadhis. And there are multiple, so each sphere is upadhi. In my example, the large sphere earth is an upadhi. I mean, the mother Gaia is beyond the upadhi. She is the consciousness embodying the planet. Planet can be destroyed. The mother Gaia cannot be destroyed. She will go back to God's womb from where she came till a new planet is manifested. No, Kalyug, Satyug, and no, Sachit was talking about that. We are right now in the 7th Manvantara. That is what our religious books tell that. Each Manvantara means one new creation. So 6 times this world has been dissolved. 7th time it is experiencing itself. That is what they say. Right, and there will be 14 Manvantaras in this whole cycle. And after that, 14 Manvantaras, everything will go into God's womb again. And again, we'll wait for some time when God decides to manifest again. Now, that is a very vast, unimaginable concept of time. Okay. But again, you see that, there's no point going so deep. You know what I'm saying, Dipanjan? There's no point. There's no utility for that. That will become only hypothetical. I'm more interested in this jnana that I'm trying to help my students come up to, how that informs our day-to-day life choices. How it informs our, lifestyles, how it informs our families' lifestyles. Can we influence the world at large to go into depths of the swimming pool in which we find ourselves. Why we keep swimming in the baby pool? Why don't we go deeper? As we go a little bit deeper, no, all the problems will vanish, no. If we stop fighting in the name of religion, if we stop dividing ourselves in the name of nations, this earth, if we treat as one, we can in very short frame of time produce one humanity, which is one earth, one humanity, and one collective problem, whether it's planetary environment crisis or any crisis, food crisis. There is no food crisis. It's an artificial crisis. See, I mean, this fiction that we have bought of everything, being controlled either by the government or by the market or by the tradition. These three things govern the entire planet. Right? When you believe in tradition, you live in the past. When you believe in government, you live as a slave. When you believe in the market, you live in a selfish, greedy world where each person is trying to gain utility and each person is trying to sell utility. But you see, this is a fiction that you have created. It is not a divinely ordained, way of life. It's a convenience only. Right now, what may be convenient, for thousands of years may also become a liability at some point of time. When you are, in a society where everyone is basically quite well off, and as a planet, you are quite a well-off planet in the sense that the planet has enough for feeding all her children, human children, to clothe all her children, to find shelter for all her children. We are at that level of prosperity. At this level of prosperity, do we need to still believe in these three fictions? At this level of education that we have reached, is it okay to find the essence of our traditions? See, you can worship Rama the person, you can worship Rama the ideal, and you can worship Rama the idea, and you can worship Rama the reality. Four things I shared with you right now. Now, if you insist upon worshipping Rama the person, you are a religious fundamentalist. If you worship Rama the ideal, you are a dharmic person. You are trying to learn dharma. If you worship Rama the idea, you are a spiritual seeker. And if you worship Rama the reality, you are a self-realized being, demonstrating what it means to be Rama. I shared something very deep just now with you. You could make a note also of this and contemplate. It's a very good meditation which I gave you. Which one you worship? That defines your humanity. That defines your spirituality. Where you are in your journey. So, I think I'll take a pause and drink my tea. You tell me what you guys got from what I just shared. I told a lot of things, about tradition, markets, so many things, about lifestyles, technology, what we needed to do, to come from the jungle to the cities and the villages. Can you encapsulate all these 15 minutes into, one concise paragraph, maybe, of a couple of minutes? What is my message for humanity today? What I'm trying to say? Sachit, you would like to try?
Yeah. So I think you're also emphasizing on our current context of, despite us having enough of all abundance, prosperity, everything, it is all, it's actually a choice. We do not necessarily need to have hunger as a problem or a crisis. We do not necessarily have to have poverty as
It's a man-made problem. It's a man-made problem right now.
So we can just immediately solve it. And but then we are also all living in different ideologies of life. And I was just contemplating on the last bit which you're talking about of if you believe that if you're living worshipping Ram or God as an idea, or if you're worshipping Ram as an ideal person. And when you spoke about Ram as an ideal person, you're trying to become that ideal being. Well, you're trying to be that ideal dharmic person. If you're worshipping Ram as an idea, you're trying to that part I was trying to recall.
You're a spiritual seeker, no?
Spiritual seeker.
They say Ram Nam Satya hai. In North India, when they take the dead body to the ghat to burn, they keep chanting along the way. I don't know if Dipanjan has seen this or not. Ram Nam Satya hai, Ram Nam Satya hai. Why we chant? Because we are saying that what has died is the dreamer. And the dreamer's dream. But the one who was dreaming is not dead. Ram is not dead. Atma is not dead. It will again take birth somewhere. So don't grieve about this person. Ram Nam Satya hai. So every time someone dies, we remind that Ram is true. So Ram as an idea which never dies. Atma is an idea only till you experience something. It's an idea only, no? I said Ram as the person you worship, Ram as the ideal, Ram as the idea, and Ram as the reality. Ram as the reality for self-realized being. Amma is living Ram as the reality. Someone worshipping Ram the person means Ram the person is better than Jesus the person. And Jesus the person is better than Ram the person. Then you can cut each other's throat. That is a religious fundamentalist. But my point is, you are a person and Ram was a person. So why you waste your life worshipping a person you don't even know, you haven't even met? That is the secondary and the tertiary, belief, and secondary and tertiary, knowledge, which is in fact not knowledge. It is simply a belief, a superstition. So this is for the guy on the street who is very easily brainwashed, right? So that is the level of, as I told, it's a nested reality. So that is also a nested reality. So as is the awareness, so is the belief, so is the knowledge. That is why ultimately awareness is most important. Why we are meeting on Sunday and trying to discuss all these things? Because trying to increase our awareness, our understanding, and hopefully the collective's understanding and awareness also. In that spirit. So, yeah, so continue, Sachit. Yeah, you just started. Yeah, hunger can be abolished, everything can be abolished. Yeah.
So when we are worshipping Ram as a reality, you were saying that is being that is the ultimate truth itself, and you're being yourself realized, and you're being Ram. When you were talking about that, I was trying to contemplate about it's a slightly different tangent, but for example, Ram's qualities are there as a person, but again, that's coming at a personal level as a person of Ram. If I want to become realized, it should be in my experience. If I am experiencing God itself, if I had to make a beginning, I think you were saying that we are making a start of the spiritual classes, and in the next classes we'll discuss about it. But my spark was about if we have to make that beginning towards being that person itself or being the truth itself, should we start being those qualities? So there are higher qualities that we can always experience ourselves by being that. For example, simple start of beginning as a quality is appreciation at a very beginning basic level, or a lot of other qualities, higher qualities are there, but starting with a basic fact of appreciation as a quality. We have the ability to appreciate every individual, the ability to appreciate every single object which is in front of me. That itself is one higher quality. So will being all of these qualities and practicing them consciously, will it make a move towards being that Ram itself?
Yeah, so thing is that if you, I remember now one instance which Jaggi Vasudev, founder of this Isha Foundation, is very fond of mentioning that someone from abroad was trying to locate Isha Foundation and had come very near to Isha Foundation and was asking, from a boy who was a cowherd or something. He was asking him, "Do you know the Isha Foundation?" He says, yes. How far it is? So he said, maybe some, 12,000 miles or something, some strange answer. And he knows he's very near to the. So he was very shocked. So that boy was very smart. He told, sir, in the direction in which you are traveling, that is the distance. But if you take an about turn and start walking, it is only 3 miles. So idea, no, and it's a very, very, very humorous but very good anecdote to help me answer your question. So idea is that, see, if you want to become self-realized, you have to walk in the direction of self-realization, right? If you go in the opposite direction, you will never reach. Am I right? So when we started today's session, we started discussing Kshetrajna, right? And I was telling you should choose the Kshetra very carefully. Why I was telling that? Because your goal is something different. I have seen someone, one of my friends, drinking tea and the Coke at the same time. Now, is it a surprise that he has lost most of his teeth by now? Is it a surprise? Does it shock you? He has lost all his teeth by now, at a very premature age. Had huge trouble with always visiting dentists. Does it surprise you? It's law of karma in action, no? You have to understand the nature of your teeth, nature of your body, and who knows, some greater illness may also manifest. So what I'm trying to say, if you want health, you have to follow healthy lifestyle. Similarly, this example was someone who doesn't want to be healthy. Maybe he was very supremely fit and strong in young age, so was misusing his health. But then point is, everything is basically, a result of many causal factors. There is a homeostasis, right? Everything is at a homeostasis, at some level of equilibrium. If you disturb the equilibrium, in a negative way, you will be finding a lower level equilibrium, or you'll experience chaos. Disease is chaos, right? So, are you following what I'm saying? So, if you want to become self-realized, you have to walk that path which takes you in that direction. So, that is where my injunction was, that you have to be very conscious of the Kshetra that you are choosing. You simply can't say that my job is giving me less money and India has less opportunities, hence I will go to maybe some place in the world, maybe the most tamasic country in this world, and I will go there because they're giving me 10 times more salary. Yes, you'll become very rich materialistically. But are you aware of the spiritual cost that you are paying? In the same way, Ram as an ideal or as an idea, or Krishna as an ideal idea, any deity will do, any such person will do. No, Ishta Devata. It's called Ishta Devata. Any Ishta Devata will do. We can follow any Ishta Devata. Each Ishta Devata, is like a boat in which you are traveling. Now, you don't want to sit in the boat when you reach the other shore. But that doesn't mean that the boat can't help. So, as a spiritual practitioner, we have to understand the utility of the boat, then our destination, and also translate this understanding to actual action. If I buy the boat, take it to the ocean, and just anchor it to the harbor and never start on my journey, will I reach anywhere? The boat may be there, the river may be there, and I may be there, but all are useless without the travel. So like that. So similarly, life is a journey. Life is a journey, and we have some lifespan given to us. In that lifespan only, we have to make whatever progress that is possible for us to attain. Right? And for that to happen, now pay attention to what I'm saying. Certain things have to fall in place. One, we have to choose the right process. Right? It's very important. Life is process driven. You agree with me? Life is process driven. As is your process, so is your outcome. So first of all, you have to follow a good scientifically chosen process. Now, how do you choose? You have to trust a teacher whom you know to have impeccable integrity and realization, both. You have to choose a teacher who is realized and has integrity. You can't, impute any ulterior motive to the teacher, right? And then the teacher has already traveled. and reach the other shore. That is the criteria. Then that teacher is telling that you do this. So that is a good scientific process, right? Then after that, faith in that process is very important. So two things important: knowledge of the right process and faith in the right process is very important. That is why all the classical teachers, old style teachers like Amma, they say that once you have chosen the guru, in fact, it is a wrong statement. Once the guru has chosen you, and you have tested your guru as much as you like, and you found the guru to be a true guru, then after that you have only one duty, that is to surrender. Right? Now what happened was that this was the Sanatan tradition, Guru Sisya Parampara. But what happened was that the purity of the tradition was lost. And then our culture embraced all kinds of materialistic contaminations. And then what happened? Some false gurus emerged. And these false gurus are basically attracted by the power and the paraphernalia that comes with becoming a guru. So guru became, a gurudom became, a means to, attaining these personal carnal desires, meeting personal carnal, and then they spoil the tradition. So I'm not talking about those things, right? I'm talking about, people like us. Once we have found a correct guru, then we follow that teaching prescribed by that guru as the correct process. So knowledge is the correct process because the guru that prescribed is the correct guru, and then the faith in the process. These two things are important, and then following the process. These three things: knowledge of the right process, faith in the right process, and following the right process is important. All these three things. Then what is the fourth quality? Fourth quality is patience. Patience. Right? So when these four things come together, what happens? Since it is a nested reality, you will notice that you start to deepen your awareness day by day, day by day. The sattva starts to grow in you. As Deepanjan was trying to explain earlier, your tastes start to change, your nature starts to change, your attitude starts to change. And you will notice more and more grace flowing into you. It's a nested and dynamic reality where God is always interacting with us. God as the universe is always interacting with us. So God has two aspects: Nirakar Brahman and Sakar Ishvara, right? So Nirakar Brahman is our destination, but Sakar Ishvara is our helper on the path. Both are head and tail of the same coin. Nirakar and Sakar are not different. Now it doesn't matter whether Amma is helping me or Sai Baba is helping me or Guru Nanak is helping me. They are all Sakar Brahman. Every self-realized teacher is a Sakar Brahman. Where will you find God? In an embodiment of God. So it doesn't matter which embodiment of God is helping you. So that is why it doesn't matter which Ishta you choose. Any Ishta Devata you choose, each one of them is equally capable of guiding because they are all beings from the other shore. Right? So whether you worship Ganpati or Kali, it doesn't matter, or Jesus or Muhammad, doesn't matter. You don't need to worry. Right? They will guide. Anyone is capable of guiding. It should be authentic teacher. So you have the knowledge of the right process, faith in the right process, practice that process diligently, and then divine grace will come. You just need to be patient. Now in this, why I am telling patience is important, because impatience and preconditions which come from our immature expectations, which comes from our projection upon God of certain qualities which we imagine to be with God, to be called God. You know what I'm saying? If for example, I will take my personal example. I am meditating, okay? And at some point of time, I get in touch with my Atma. And for next 5 years, I'm experiencing Atma, but very tremendously great miracles are not happening around me and in my life. And even my physical ailments are quite stubborn and they don't go away immediately. then what happens? Initially, what happens is that you become disappointed with God. God is omnipotent. So the Atma is God. So if I get in touch with my Atma, every illness should vanish just like that. Like Alice in Wonderland, no? But it is not like that. So that is why we have to understand that we are living in a very organic reality. So nature is a very important teacher. See how things grow in nature. Everything grows organically. The tree grows organically. The human baby grows organically. Every animal grows organically. Similarly, even the Atma grows organically. Even the Atma Gyan deepens organically. Even the omniscience of God grows organically in you. Even the omnipotence of God grows organically in you. Even the omnipresence of God grows organically in you. And this is my personal experience. Now, growing organically day by day, like Meera sang, no, Payo ji, I have told so many times, Ram Ratan Payo. It grows at 25% every day, no? Din Bharat Savayo, like 25%. It's not measurement 25. What idea is it grows. Brahman means that which expands. Brahman means that which expands. So, Brahman is not only a pre-existing ocean of consciousness. Brahman is also the Atman which expands. Right. So that is why patience is required. Even when there is the ultimate truth, it is not as if you can just wave a magic wand and solve all the global problems. If that were possible, Amma would have solved it. It's not possible. Why it's not possible? Because of the integrity of this universe. Everything is as it is. There is no deception from that perspective. What you see is what you get. See, Dipanjan is God also and Dipanjan also. Just because Dipanjan is God, we can't start worshipping him straight away. That will be playing tricks with his mind. Because he will really become convinced and he'll go mad. So it is not the way Indian tradition is teaching you to be or behave. That is why you will see our culture the way it is. The Shishya will always show respect to the teacher, even though Shishya has become self-realized. When a self-realized teacher and a self-realized disciple both meet, the disciple will touch the Guru's feet, not the other way around. So these traditions are kept the way they are because there's a meaning in that, there's a value in that. But they're trying to teach you that reverence, that shraddha, that patience, those great qualities. So idea is that, to answer your question, Sachit, you cannot become Ram without following the Ram's qualities. So Ram again the person, then Ram the ideal, the idea and the reality. So Ram the person and his stories inspire us because, he faced so many odds and conquered all the odds and never lost his cool. So that person's life inspires. Then from that person's life, we get the Ram's ideals. Respect and love for the parents, obeying the parents, loving the citizens, never misusing power, paying attention to the criticism of even the washerman in the kingdom. He has no differentiation between his wife and a washerman. To convince a washerman, he is banishing his own wife to the forest. Now, there people criticize Ram, as a very bad husband. But people don't understand that it's a nested reality. So once you become a king, you're no longer a husband primarily. The duty of the king overtakes the duty of the husband. It is like, there's a famous saying that, for a family, an individual can be sacrificed. And for a village, a family can be sacrificed. And for a kingdom, a village can be sacrificed. And for the nation, a kingdom can be sacrificed. And for the whole world, maybe a nation can be sacrificed. Again, nested reality. You cannot escape that. You see, 2-3 bad people are there in your company. Will you let your company sink or kick these people out? What is a more rational thing to do? You'll kick these people out, no? That is why, there are heavens and hells perhaps to treat, psychiatrically disturbed people. There are hells also. They are described in our tradition. Maybe there are hells to treat a very disturbed people. In the asylum, we give electric shock, no, to mad people. Can we say doctors are cruel? No, they're not cruel. They're treating. Did I answer some questions, Sajid?
Yeah. So the point is, you need to imbibe those qualities to walk in the direction.
Yeah. And also know why you are doing it. Because otherwise you will lose patience. And why I brought nature into picture? Because you look at any natural process. This is how you grow crops also. You will get the field, you will prepare the field, you will remove the weeds, you will take care of the seed as it is growing, the sapling. Maybe you will have a fence around the sapling. You will try to keep the birds and the crows away, the animals away, let the crop mature. Then you harvest the crop at a certain time. But this whole process takes patience and care. So like that with life also. So everywhere it is the same thing. Because wherever, see, there is understanding that there is para-prakriti and apara-prakriti. In Indian tradition, para-prakriti is also called para-prakriti. It's not as if para is beyond prakriti. That is also prakriti, but a para-prakriti, transcendent prakriti. So even Brahman in this particular classification is called the para-prakriti. So just because Brahman is nirgun doesn't mean that he is not prakriti. He is also prakriti. But para-prakriti, which means it has a prakriti. What is prakriti? Prakriti is nature. Some nature, something, some flavor, something. So it is transcendent, but it is prakriti. Which means what? See, people get into empty philosophical debates, which is not necessary. Whether Buddhism was right or not, whether Buddha was realized or not, whether Buddha was a ajnani because he denied the Atma. These are futile discussions. See, if someone denied the Atma, maybe there's a reason for that. Or maybe he's a ajnani, but that is not your problem. Your problem is your problem. You solve your problem. Now, why you bother about Buddha? Whether Ram banished Sita to the forest and hence was a cruel man or not, that is a pointless debate. If let's say this idea that no, he was a king doesn't satisfy you, because that way you will say that, oh, any washerman will tell anything and you will do like that, then you are a victim of that washerman. You don't have that much critical understanding. You don't understand the washerman is a Sudra. People can argue like that, which means Ram is not a mature intellect. He is a childlike person. Can you satisfy everyone in this world? You cannot satisfy everyone in this world. So Ram is a foolish person. You can tell like that. Which means that if I become like Ram, I will start responding to any Tom, Dick and Harry on the street. What if someone tells something about my mother? And what I do? So see, these are unnecessary discussions and pointless debates. My point is this simple. If you worry about Ram the person, these are the things in which you get entangled. Why you bother about Ram the person? See, like you take a lemon, no? Lemon. So you take the juice. Do you eat the covering of the lemon? So similarly in the Ram story, take the juice, no? So the people who worship Ram the person, or Prophet the person, or Jesus the person, they become fanatical people. Because they have to defend the person at all cost. And my point is that don't be like that. Take the message, take the learning, take the wisdom, and implement that in your life. Only then you will get the benefit of this process. What is better, to worship Ram the person, or to understand Ram, the idea and the ideal, and to experience the benefits of these qualities as they grow in you? These qualities which he embodied, if you can embody, will you be the same person in your experience? That is my point. So it is a journey towards greater wholeness, greater happiness, greater peace. That is what spirituality means. Maybe we can lay the seed for the next class, what it means to be spiritual, right? And how to, because you already started that discussion, Sachit, you already started the discussion. What it means to be spiritual. Maybe we can ask this question and attempt to answer this, and we can build this next class over this question. All three of you can state your ideas about what it means to be spiritual according to you. First of all, is it necessary to be spiritual? Or is it even necessary to seek to become spiritual?
So I can take a quick stab at it. So to your first question, the fundamental question, is it necessary to be spiritual? My answer is definitely yes. And what it means to be spiritual is the constant acquisition or search for the truth, the self-realization. So the journey is too long, especially the spiritual journey is too long, and it cannot happen in a specific time. Nobody can put a time frame. Raj will reach this destination in a specific time of spirituality. It's a gradual and continuous process and effort, and it needs constant checks and balances at every stage of our journey. So if I put it that way, sir, yeah, this is my perspective about spirituality, which is important.
Yeah, Deepanjan, you like to try? Because you have been on the path for some time, as you said. What it means to be spiritual to you?
So first, you said that is it even necessary to be spiritual? So that are coming to my mind is that I have benefited from this journey, so I would think that it is necessary because it's very practical. It has practical benefits also to be spiritual. But then in the Bhagavad, our traditions say that bhakti comes from devotees of God. It is a gift of the devotees. Similarly, to be spiritual, I would think that it is grace from divinity, because some people are spiritual and some are not, right? So is it necessary to be spiritual? Of course, but then not everybody is a recipient of, not everybody is spiritual. So why is that? Because not everybody is a recipient of, not everybody is getting that grace. So that is one. Now to the question that what it means to be spiritual, I don't have a very good answer, sir. But if I were to take a stab at it, I would think that to be spiritual is to understand the truth about ourselves and our reality.
Okay, very
And
good.
it is a journey.
Okay, very good. I'll respond to all of you at the same time. I'm listening right now. Yeah, Sachit?
Yes, sir. So my thoughts were on the, how we spoke about the existence itself, where we are part of the divinity itself, right? For example, we are the seed from the divinity itself. So meaning to say we have an essence of the divine creation. So when that is the reality, like there can be no separation between the art and the artist. So like that, I think there is no separation, or there is, it's for me, I think it's not a question that whether you need to be spiritual, because it is a default. It's like that question, you cannot separate the art from the artist. So you cannot separate the spirituality with the spirit. So something in those lines is what I was thinking. At the same time, what is being spiritual is, I think, it was surprising that many of us were talking on the similar terms also about the truth, wanting to, move towards our reality or our actual truth, which we are yet to seek and which we are yet to experience. And you also discussed earlier that God, the white canvas is just there, but what's the point of it being just as a canvas without being able to experience the fun and play of all the colors and all the aspects of every single color? So without experiencing divinity, there's no point of the spirit itself. So I think spirituality is about experiencing the divinity, experiencing the actual spirit of the spirit is what spirituality is what I feel.
Okay, so I will respond to your last point first. Actually, why we call it a Lila? Why we call it a play? Lila means a play, divine play. Because there is joy in playing this. Whenever you play, you enjoy that, right? So there is joy in this play. But only difference between normal play and this play is that in this play there is joy and there is pain. There is pleasure and there is pain. Right. And maybe there is more pain and less pleasure. Right. And that is why it is a painfully pleasant game. I mean, for most people. Right. Earth may be a miserable experience, but even the poorest person clings to life as if, life is so precious. No? Do they want to escape their life mostly? Most people don't like to escape their life. If you offer to a very poor and miserable, let me kill you, you can escape your misery. Most people will say no. They'll try to run away from you, right? So it doesn't matter how much this life gives pain, but people still feel it is somehow beautiful. So that shows how much they love themselves. Because inner spirit doesn't want to die. That inner spirit is very frightened when someone says, let me kill you. So which means to be alive is the most fundamental property of spirit. Because that is existence nature, sad, no? Sad aspect is existence. So sad, the Atma in me reacts in horror when I say that let me extinguish you. That it will not accept. Because it knows that where there is life, there is hope. Yes, I may be experiencing misery, but since I am alive, I know that I can turn it around. The idea is that if you are a great creator and you never created, it is a tragedy, right? So you are a great creator and hence you created. And why you created? Because if there is no canvas, where will you paint? And if you will not paint, how will you enjoy? Right? So yes, creation is there because creation is the canvas. So creator created the canvas and creator became multiple artists. Right? And as Sati told, art and artist can't be separated. As is the artist, so is the art. So the Chid aspect comes. Sachidananda is the name of God. So as is the artist means as is the Chid. As is the level of awareness. That is the Chid aspect. So is the artist. So is the art means this form. So idea is that this universe is like a very big restaurant with a very vast array of items on the menu. Which body you get on this earth at least, which body you get depends upon the level of awareness. Now having got this human body shows that we have a very high level of awareness compared to the animal kingdom. But then not every human is seeking to perfect themselves because they get lost in the Maya. That is where spiritual teaching comes. So who is spiritual or what is spiritual? To be spiritual is first of all to love the spirit. To be spiritual is first of all to know that there is spirit. To be spiritual is to know that yes, there is material reality, which is very beautiful. But at the substratum of it all is the spirit. So to be spiritual is at least to be a devotee of spirit, to be a lover of spirit, to be at least someone who wants to embrace more of the spirit or who wants to be impressed by more of the spirit. So one particular picture which moves me or which used to move me a lot is Hanuman being embraced by Ram. There is a very famous photo. If you can see that, you can go to Google and search and you will get it. Hanuman is being embraced by Ram and Hanuman is so blissful and so ecstatic. What this picture represents to me? Hanuman is the true seeker, the true devotee of Ram. Yes? Whole Ramayana is like that. And so Hanuman has embraced Ram with his whole being from the day one. But at certain level of maturity, Ram reciprocates and Ram also embraces Hanuman. So it is Hanuman embracing Ram and Ram embracing Hanuman. But point is Hanuman had already embraced Ram. It took a while for Ram to come and embrace him. So to be spiritual is to be Hanuman. To be spiritual is to be Hanuman. To love Ram and to move towards Ram, to embrace Ram and have patience and faith that one day Ram will come and embrace me. And today the day has come, Ram has come and embraced me. What is that day? That day is the day of self-realization. That whom you loved has now embraced you. Truth is now, you are in the embrace of truth now. Right? So that is what it means, that picture means to me. So idea is that we know that such a ecstatic union is possible with spirit one day. Self-realization is possible one day. So that is being spiritual. To have that faith in the teaching that there is a central essence in me, which is Ram, which is God, which is divine. So first believing in that is spiritual. In the beginning, I had told that don't believe anything till you have experienced. But then this one belief is an exception to that principle. Because this is not believing in something outside yourself. This is believing in something inside yourself. And you yourself have seen that when you are most inspired in life, you are a very noble person in those moments. Am I right? Every human being, when you are most inspired, you do noble things. Your brother is suffering, you give blood, you give help, you give money. You don't sleep for a day or two and help out with some crisis. And that is when you are at your most inspired self. So whenever you are inspired, motivated by spirit, you always become selfless and you feel so much love. So from where is it coming? Or when you see something very good, some very great movie, very wonderful movie, why you are moved to tears? Or a certain gesture of a friend or a mother or someone, why it touches you to the core? There is something in you which is not only seeking materialistic pleasure. It is seeking that higher ananda. Maybe sometimes when you make a sacrifice, you experience that higher ananda. So there is something in you which is beyond this material. So knowing that, moving towards that, loving that, or orienting our life towards that direction is spiritual. And when it comes to observation, in behavior terms, to be spiritual is to be having equanimity, is to be having clarity, is to be having compassion, is to be loving, is to be kind in behavior, towards others, be accepting of others, be helpful. That is all about being spiritual. So, you are, in terms of attitude, very beautiful person, very loving person. You embrace everyone. And you also know that today I am not perfect and I am moving towards a deeper and deeper, level of being where I will be more and more in touch with my own inner divinity. And knowing all that is to be spiritual. So in a way, spirituality to me is a mixture of the bhakti yoga, where you love God, love spirituality. Jnana yoga, you know all these things I'm sharing with you. Karma yoga, you know that you are in a kshetra. Dharma kshetra, kuru kshetra. So in a kshetra, you are offering your best to your fellow beings. But is your dharma, you are discharged. That is karma yoga. Right. Now, so bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga, all these three you are practicing. And more than that, you can't do. That is where I will repeat and I will close today's class, is that we should know the right process, have faith in that process, practice that process, and be patient. Then what will happen? We will experience gradually ever deepening of our spirituality. As Deepanjan shared and Raj had shared a few classes earlier, that ever since these classes have started, you feel you are growing in consciousness. If you feel that you are growing in consciousness, that shows that we are on the right path. So let us, so this is the last point I would like to say, that in our journey, we are like our own parent. Spirituality is also interpreted in terms of rebirth. In a way, the animal man dies and the spiritual man takes birth. It's like rebirthing a spiritual man in the old, Kshetra. So Kshetrajna is being renewed through wisdom, through practice, through meditation, through sadhana, through tapas. And it's a continuous process of ever refining ourselves more and more, more and more. That is why jnana is also called Agni, fire. Fire purifies, no? So like that. This tapas, whether it is meditation, whether it is reading scriptures, whether it is going to tirthas, whether it is going to ashrams or meeting in classes like this, all this is tapas, hard work, effort. Right. So as Dipanjan was saying earlier about grace, I would like to respond to that. See, if you attribute spirituality only to grace, then in a way you are saying that God is partial. You did not state that, but there is a implicit assumption that it's as if God is kinder towards some people, which means that if there are some tigers and lions in the forest, God is not showing the same love and care towards those tigers and the lions, right? But actually that is not true. God is not showing partiality towards anyone. So what is the answer? My answer is that there is no free lunch in this universe. You have to earn your lunch. So if you wanted a human body, you need a human consciousness. And if time is circular and cyclical, believe me, what you are seeing, the lion or the tiger in the forest, was a man also at some point of time. Everything is rotating. The tiger in the forest was man at some point of time. And a man today sitting on this chair was a tiger at some point of time. So what happens is law of karma is responsible for all this. If you are spiritual today, is because you loved spirit yesterday. Do you agree with me, Raj, or not? Sachit, do you think God is showing partiality or you have earned it?
You have earned it.
You have earned it. You have earned it. Because if God were participating in life like that, and still there were misery in the world, then I have every right to blame God. But God is not participating in the world like that. God is simply creating, souls and giving them a space in which to manifest. They say that life evolved out of amoeba, right, on earth. Right. And I am not denying that it may be true. But I also believe that which starts as amoeba at some point of time is not the beginning of the journey. I somehow don't believe in linear time. I believe that if Brahman is real, everything started from Brahman. It makes intuitive sense to me. Tell me, Dipanjan, is there any other way possible? See, there are two possibilities. One is Brahman was the beginning. And for some reason, Brahman became contaminated. And hence had a downfall. And became man and animal and amoeba and plant kingdom or animal kingdom, whatever. If you believe in this, then the journey is from top to bottom. That is one possibility. Second possibility is that we always had an intermixture of truth and different levels of consciousness from the very beginning. It's a speculation. Which one you believe in? Which one you believe in? Now, my personal intuition is that if it is the second possibility, then it becomes even more poignant. In the sense that then there is more need for love and compassion and kindness. Because what we are meeting outside, an ignorant person, is actually an unfortunate person. Because he happens to be in an unfortunate situation of where he or she doesn't know the basic reality of his being. Right? So in that case also you have to be more love and show more love and kindness. And in the first possibility, where God was eternally pure and transcendent, and for some reason slowly descended into this materialistic universe that he projected out of himself and slowly became trapped in it more and more. more and more, more and more, more and more. Then even in that case, we have to impute some divine intention. Why will God do that? Why will God do that? So in the second case also, you need to feel kindness and compassion because God is like a lost child. Got kidnapped from his house and was taken far away by the kidnappers. And we are that God. Did you follow what I'm saying? You started someplace, God knows, how many millions of years back. And today you have reached such a level where you have gone very far from your home. In both cases, we have to show love and compassion towards each other. And that is spirituality for me. Only two possibilities. Either everything is a mixture, or we started at a very transcendent level. But whichever way you look at it, it brings to the same dharmic behavior. Love, compassion, kindness. So that is what is the beauty of real spiritual understanding. We can never become haters. Right? So we'll end here with the last advice from my side is that love and kindness that we are being asked to show to everyone, let us first extend to ourselves. Let us be loving and kind towards ourselves. Right? And add to that wisdom. Make good choices. Wisdom is very important to protect our journey. So no, I had told about Kacha Pautar. All this is good, but we have to understand which is more important. Our inner growth is more important or outer growth is more important. That is again being spiritual. Choosing inner growth over outer growth. Okay. And this is a very important point. Because that is about that, that Isha Foundation story. If you don't take the right direction, you will never reach. It's like that. So don't choose the wrong direction. Right? This for every listener who is watching this. Don't choose the wrong direction. Because if you choose the wrong direction, you will never reach. So keeping on walking in the right direction is very important, which is the right process. Right? So in a way, today we built from the last class about more practical aspects. How we know that spirituality is growing in us, choosing the correct kshetra, knowing what spirituality is, what it means to be spiritual. Then Ram the person, Ram the ideal, Ram the idea, and Ram the reality. So I think that was a very important thing which I shared today. And knowing all this is very important. Because we are consciousness means what? Everything starts with knowledge. Because if we know something is right, then we follow that. And if we know something is wrong, we avoid that. This is very important. That is what it means to be conscious. Unconsciousness is just opposite. We don't know what is right, what is wrong. Right? Shall we end today here? Okay?
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Much.
Wonderful session.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.